Hey, if you're new to my channel, my name is Rowena. Thank you for taking a moment to hang out with me today. A couple of firsts for me here. I've never done a voiceover on my videos, so this is a first. And this past month, March, I began using a Pocket Plus planner. This is a new size for me since I started out using a personal size. And I've been really happy with the personal size. It's just that I was going on a trip to Las Vegas and I thought I'd like to have something smaller. So in this video, you will see a small compilation of me scheduling and updating my planner throughout the month. This video will give you a look into how I plan in the rings, and hopefully you can glean a tip or two from it. I've not gone through these clips, so my musings and comments will be raw. You've been warned. Here, it looks like I'm going through receipts and writing down what I spent during the trip. I don't, in general, keep a tab of my receipts and such. Usually, I just kind of put them all together, put them in an envelope, and send it to my bookkeeper. But on this trip, I wanted to kind of get an idea of how much I spent during the trip. And I have to say, I started to kind of like doing this just because it gives me a good idea of my expenditures. I don't really, in general, spend a whole lot of money. Like I don't buy clothes all the time or makeup or anything like that. I, in fact, have some clothes I noticed some videos from like 4 years ago that I still wear. So yeah, anyway, so I don't generally keep an expense record, but for trips, once in a while, and this one in particular, I just kind of felt like doing so. Now I'm going through the planner. Let's see, I think I'm thinking through this to see what I need to update. Okay, so my Vegas trip was for a builder's show, and we went there, I think, the end of February for just a couple of days, but it turned into, I think I got home in March by the time I got home. No, actually, I think I got home before that, just probably the 28th. Right at the end of February. But anyway, I think here it looks like I am updating my schedule. I've talked about this before. I typically use blue for personal things and then red for actual appointments and green for anything that has to do with the studio. Maybe I should put my glasses on so I can see this better because I'm working off of an iPad. Like I mentioned, this is going to be very raw. Okay, so what it looks like here is I'm updating and saying what it is that I did that day. I typically do this because I like to know that I've accomplished some things on the daily. And so a lot of times I will put like a snippet of things that I did that particular day to help me when I go back to see that, you know, I did do some work or I accomplished something anyway. So yeah, hurry up already. I have really enjoyed the Pocket, and right now I'm taping this, the voiceover, and it's April 1st, and I have been in the Pocket wide for a little while, and then I decided to go even smaller to the Pocket size, and then at that point I was using a hybrid of sizes between the Pocket Plus and the Pocket size, which both fits in the Sojourner Pocket rings, as long as it's the 19 millimeter rings. Both wide and regular size Pocket fits in there. And here it looks like I'm going through my shopping list This is also kind of the first time I'm using this insert because I'm getting to the point to where I just forget things. And in fact, on this list, when I went to Target, I actually looked at my planner before I went into the store, had my planner with me, and still I forgot one thing. So I've just been trying to list things that come up that I know I'm going to have to purchase, so that and putting it in my planner, instead of like post-it notes and things getting lost. I'm putting it in one place just because it just kind of is helping me a lot better to not waste my time having to go back again because I did not have a list, or my list was incomplete. Anyway, here it looks like I am updating my snippet journal. I actually journal in an A5 Hobonichi, but this is something that I have in my planner, my ring planner, because it's something that I like to, sometimes when I have a minute, I'll sit and I'll update my, what I would call the snippet journaling, my diary in here. And then in the future, or after I'm done with it, I can always tip it in my A5, which is my normal journaling notebook, or I can just keep it in and archive it. So yeah, I've been enjoying putting little snippets of journaling. Because a lot of times to use my A5 journal, it feels like getting started, that I'm going to need some time to sit there and fill it out. So with this, it's just really quick. In my brain, I already know that it's just going to be a quick session, and so I don't have to somewhat prepare my mind. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times when I have to prepare myself like that, I end up not doing it at all because it seems like the task is going to be bigger or longer than it really had to be. So I do like snippet journaling like this. Now, do I do this every day? No, not necessarily. And sometimes I'll go a week without doing it, and then I'll fill it in by looking at pictures on my phone, because I take a lot of pictures. In fact, I last count, there's like 60,000. I really need to put that in a separate drive. So that little ruler I use to bookmark the current day. I find it very useful because you can go right to the page that is most important. And for me, that is the dailies. Every day I use the daily part of my planner, unless I'm on a trip. Once in a while, I'll miss a day or two, but in general, I'm always in the dailies because I always have a list of things to do and accomplish. Here, it looks like I'm just writing down a list of my tasks for the first workday. I typically do this on a Sunday. I write a running task list, and I really need to go through my running task list that is not a weekly one. So I have different task lists. One of them is a general task list, and a lot of times I'll write that in a bigger notebook or in one of the inserts that I might have within my planner. And the other I use for the weeklies. So I'll make a list of what needs to be done that week. So here it looks like I am still planning and trying to figure out what things I need to do for that Monday. I might end up speeding this up because I'm kind of taking a long time updating. Come on already. But this is in real time. This is how it works, you know. You're kind of going back and forth, and that's one of the things that I really like about the ring planner, because if you find yourself needing to change the basic lineup of where what is, it's easily done. I like that. I like that for me. Here, this is a like a gratitude or highlight one line spread. And again, this is one of those things sometimes I forget to write it down. Not that I really forget, I just don't maybe have the planner quite handy at that time when I think of something, and then I neglect to write it down later on in the evening. But sometimes I get myself caught up this way by, again, looking at my pictures. Sometimes looking, to me, I'm very visual, and pictures really help me see what my day was like. I literally can look at a picture or two on my phone and kind of get an idea of what I did that day, the whole day, just because I remember it in images. So here I think I'm doing some backfilling. Okay, I think that is the end of that session. Oh wait, I forgot something. My handy dandy ruler bookmark. So I'm putting it on the first work day of that week to have myself ready. So what do we have here? That's my A5, my Hobonichi. I'm going through the stuff that's in the front, most likely because I'm going to be using it. Okay, I think I know what this is. This is a time when I felt like I needed a bigger page to, I believe, do a running task list, a master task list. And I thought I might as well use it, put it in my journaling notebook, because it's part of my life, right? And so sometimes I do that. That's what I like about the A5. It's basically a notebook that I use for deep thoughts, sometimes just information, a commonplace. I write some of my lecture notes in it. So it's kind of like a big catch-all. But in general, it's really meant for journaling my thoughts and to help me process. I process in general a lot of times by journaling, having sessions of journaling. So here it looks like I am making a list. Going through some of the things that's in my planner that I might have written down really quick and just shoved in the planner so that I can have, so that I can rewrite it and really get a good grasp of everything that I have to do, not just for the next week, but in general, and kind of be able to schedule it out on particular days. So yeah, this is probably going to be a long one. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward from here. So it looks like I am referring a lot to my planner that I have with me daily, and with this size I can have in my small bag. And so I have it all the time. And so that's where I put most of my information. And it looks like I'm going through and just making a list, or at least looking through the list to see what things still aren't done so that I can put it in this new master list. So in the next couple of clips, I think you'll see that I'm constantly going back and forth to my planner. Like I said, sometimes I just have to redo my master list because to get a clean slate. Because to me, when I have a clean slate, then it kind of clears my mind, clears the clutter in my mind. So this is very helpful for me personally. Here I am getting washi out to put up top to cover the things that I have already worked on or have completed. The reason I'm doing that is because I tend to look at it again. And so that's one of the reasons I started crossing things out instead of making those, like squares, little squares or circles where you just kind of do a check off. Sometimes I'm having to cross it off because then I won't look at it again, and I'll in my mind I'll know that I don't need to revisit it because it's just a waste of time. I generally, at first I wasn't really crossing them out because I wanted it to look neat, but it needs to function for me, and so that's why I started crossing out the things that I've done. And here I'm attempting to just use washi to cover it up, because even though you see some of the lines, as you can see here, it's not crossed out enough. And I know I'm reading it again and again as I go to this page. It's really bad. But that's what happens, I think, when you're very visual. You see something, it's like you have to look at it. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out what washi I want to use for it so that it's not covering too much, not covering too little, etc., etc. It's really, to be honest, as I'm looking at this right now, this is a waste of time, honestly. I should have just taken a thick, what do you call those pens, those permanent pens. I should have just taken a thick one and just crossed it off, and that way there's no way for me to read what's underneath. A Sharpie, a thick Sharpie. So here I'm trying to, make it look pleasing to me, and it's crazy. But there you go. Now you know my thought process. Some of it anyway. All right, I think I better fast forward this again because I'm not really doing anything different here. And see here, I'm probably going to end up taking it off because it's still too light and I can still see it. All right, let me fast forward this. So here you see some of the page flags. I started filling out some page flags for reoccurring chores or reoccurring things that I need to do, both for work and for home. So I started putting them on page flags so that I could just, once I do them, I can save it and put it away and put it on my clear divider and until next time, or at least put it on the next date that I need to do these things. Also, it's a good way to be able to move around the tasks, because I have so many tasks sometimes on a daily basis that I can't do them all. And so I put them on these page flags so that I could just easily move it from the next day to the next if I have to. And so here it looks like I'm doing some more planning. I started using the pocket size, and one of the inserts that I really love to use, that is like my staple, is the one from Filofax that has, as you can see here, the dates, and it has the time, the date, and a space on the right side to write notes. And you can get a 2-page spread, and on the next page is are lines with bullet points, so that you can make your list for the day. And that's one of the things I kind of lamented in changing to a pocket size, because I didn't have that right side anymore that I really, really love and really utilize. But then I came up with a solution of taking one of the task pages that's just a plain page, and like this one I'm writing on right now. And so it so happens that what I do is I put it between 2 days, and so on the right side it will still have that same day as on the left, and then when you flip it, then the list is now on the left, but it corresponds with the next day. So yeah, so that's how I kind of solved that issue. I hope I'm making sense, but anyway, if you need clarification, just ask. But it is a 2-page spread that I generally use and love. And so this is my hack to be able to basically have the same thing, because I like that layout. I like that system. So here I'm writing the to-dos for that particular date. And I am using my running task list. And that's what I like to do, is use the running task list to assign different tasks for the days in the week. And sometimes, we tend to write a lot of tasks on the daily, and what you end up doing is having to scratch it off and move it the next day and the next and the next. And so for me, what I've realized is that I really don't work on things unless I really, really have to, unless it's the deadline already. And so rather than encumbering myself with a whole slew of lists and having to move them around day after day, why not just put it the day before the deadline? And so I kind of started doing that. I don't think I did it here, but I started to just very recently do that, because like payroll, for instance, my payroll really is not due until Thursday, okay? But I know things can happen in between, and so generally I'll stick it on Monday or Tuesday, right? Because in anticipation, but yet I don't do it those days. I end up doing it on Wednesday, or actually on the day that it's due, Thursday. And so rather than doing that and having to move things around, cross things, and rewrite it or what have you, if you don't put them on page flags, then why not just put it on when it's really due? Because then I know that it has to be done that day, or the day before at least, because sometimes things happen, and something like payroll is very important, and so I don't want to miss it. But to put it way ahead and then just seeing it all the time, that just clutters my brain. So like I said, I started writing them, or putting these page flags on the day of or just the day before it's actually due. That's the same with bills. You can write your bills way ahead of time. Ooh, speaking of which, it's April 1st. I've got to send my rent in. I usually send it like on the 28th when I get a notice. It's not due till the 1st, but I usually just send it before I forget. And I kind of forgot because I had a lot going on. And that's another thing. If I let it pass, I have it on my calendar on the 28th, to pay it. If I let it pass and I don't do it right there and then, I forget. And then here, if I end up not paying it today, I'm going to incur interest on that. And it's unnecessary because it's not like I don't have the funds. It's there. It's just sitting. Anyway, the funny thing is, I'm just going to share this. In January, when I moved into the space, I wrote a check because they changed property management and so companies. And so I guess they're new to the property or what have you. And so they didn't have automatic pay set up. And I usually like to do automatic pay because I don't want to have to remember to pay my bills. So I do the automatic pay. They didn't have it. And so what I did is I wrote a bunch of checks and dated them the 1st of each month. And I gave all 12 checks to them. I wrote it all out, thinking no big deal, to do this. And so I sent it in and told them what I did so that they could just, cash it because they accepted checks. And they ended up contacting me and saying that they can't do that they don't hold checks like that, and that did I want them to send it back to me or for them to just destroy it. And I'm like, why can't you hold the checks like that? But thinking back, I guess that's just an extra step for them that they have to remember, because not most people will probably do that. And so yeah, I thought, okay, well, another option is just to pay the whole year's rent. But I never did ask that. I just said whatever. And so about 3 weeks later, they ended up setting up an automatic pay. So now we can do automatic pay, which is nice. But I haven't set it up. Reason being is I lost my credit card recently. I shouldn't say lost. I misplaced it. I was walking out of the door and I had my credit card on my on a counter at the studio, and I grabbed it really quick, walked out the door, and for the life of me, I don't know where I stuck it, and then it was missing. So yeah, so I can't do an automatic right now because I'm having to get a replacement. And it took me a while to get a replacement because I just knew I would find it. Because as my husband says, you don't lose things, you usually misplace it. Well, I waited probably about a month, which actually I don't recommend. I checked every other day to see if any charges were placed on there that I did not authorize, like if I dropped it somewhere and somebody picked it up and started using it. So I was checking for that. But when I called the bank just a couple of days ago, they asked me do I think I lost it? And I said, well, probably a couple of weeks ago. And when I was telling my husband, he said, yeah, because the day you lost it, after that, if you had not reported it, then you're responsible for those charges. And I was just like, ooh, I did not think of that. Because usually they just reverse charges, no problem, right? And so, yeah. So I don't recommend that. Once you know something is lost or misplaced, just change it. Because if someone happens to use the credit card, then you're going to be responsible for it. But anyway, no one's used it, so watch me find it after I get the new one. But anyway, so yeah, that's a long story, but you're here for it, right? So, okay, it looks like I'm going through my planner here and just checking to see what things I may need to do. It's one of those things I think I'm going to have to speed up because there's really nothing here that I'm doing. Oh, maybe I'm about to archive. Yep. Looks like I put away some of the pages that I don't anymore need. And then moving a picture around. If you hadn't already guessed, these are my grants. I have pictures of them within my planner because it makes me happy, and also it reminds me of them and reminds me to pray for them. Okay, so what is next here? Yeah, looks like I'm going through just to check and see if I'm good to go. Ooh, those word finds. Kind of fun to have in your planner for when you have downtime, like when you're traveling on a flight or what have you. I did that a couple of times. It was fun. It was nice that it's just handy in my planner because my planner is with me. Like I had a recent flight and the planner was with me the whole time. And it's nice because it's small enough to fit, like I said, my fanny pack. And so, yeah. So I just kept it in there and I was able to access it whenever I needed to. And here it looks like I'm just adding some to-do pages, not knowing where to put it. I've used a lot of different types of to-do pages, and so I use whatever is available to me. Pretty much anyway. I do like that these ones, even though they're pocket size, they are big. You know, they have, the lines are in between are a decent size. It's not too small that you're cramped. I like that. Here are some extra inserts that I put in here. To keep things slim, I take some of the inserts out and just keep maybe 2 to 3 of them because you're not going to use them all at the same time. So might as well go slim and minimal. So it's not too weighty because it can be very heavy. Paper can be very heavy. And these types of papers I purchased from Amazon, through Amazon, and they are printed on thick paper. And it's nice when it's something that you're going to keep, you know, like let's say, I don't know, a movie list or something that you want to keep in your planner. It's nice that it's thick because then it doesn't get mangled easily. But it also can make your planner weighty, like I said. And here I'm trying to find a date that I'm going to realistically take care of my bank statements. Recently, in fact, just today, because I'm going on vacation, starting next week, I ended up doing a lot of those page flags and just threw them all on a page, hoping to hit 1 or 2 of them. Okay, so here on this next series of clips, it looks like this is the time that I decided to change planner sizes from the wide, which I had been working with, to a regular pocket size. Ooh, that fun set of charms are from Helen of Hellenistique. She's Hellenistique on the videos. Take a look at her videos. I love watching them. Very informative. But she gave me those. She gifted that to me. And so it looks like I'm changing up my planner sizes. And that's because my purse, my fanny pack is small. And so the width of the wide was just making it just a little harder to get it out. I mean, it fits, it's just, I have other things in there. And so I decided I want to change to a smaller pocket size, and I'm just going to have to live with a smaller size. And it ends up, I end up liking it. And so, yeah. So in these next couple of clips, like I said, it looks like I'm just changing over to my next cover. And so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this. I do want to make a comment here. As you will see or notice that a lot of the leather that's on my notebooks are marked. They're blemished. They're natural blemishes. And I specifically choose those for myself because I like the blemishes. I like having unique pieces, and they're not always available, and we do not put those in the products that we sell to customers because I mean they will always have some kind of blemish, little ones on certain leathers, and that's just natural. But something large like what you're seeing in my personal notebooks, we don't generally put in our customers' purchases unless they specifically ask for something like that. And so just so that you're aware and you don't think that that's a regular happening to something you might want to purchase from us. We don't, like I said, we don't do that. It's only that I like it for myself because it reminds me of me being imperfect and God still loving me and still using me. And He has redeemed me even though I'm blemished and scratched up and used and abused. You know what I mean? So yeah. In these next clips, what am I doing? Oh, it looks like I am going into a different notebook, which it looks like the olive notebook. And there's not many of those anymore because my supplier decided to stop carrying the new bucks for now. So he doesn't have any more of the olive, and so yeah, we're very limited on it. I think we only have a handful of it. but it looks like I'm transferring to that just because it's a pretty, it really is a pretty, nubuck is very nice and it's very durable, and yet it is soft and pliable. And we have nubuck currently in the Ketsa, which is a black, bluish, greenish color, dark green. And we also have some sand still, and and seed. And I placed an order for the seed and the Ketsa because they still have a lot of those right now. But the rest of them, I will not be able to get anymore. So heads up. Here, like I mentioned earlier in the olive, it has the 25 millimeter rings right now. And I am putting a pocket size insert. And again, the 25 millimeter rings. And when you do that, the inserts fit flush to the notebook cover, or just cover, I should say. And you can see it here again. It does sit flush. So if you're going to put, if you're going to use dividers with tabs, you're going to want to have the type that has the tabs at the top so that it will fit properly. I redesigned that fly leaf, so our fly leaf actually fits both the wide as well as the regular size now, the regular pocket size. Here, as you can see, I'm just fidgeting with the inserts, trying to see how that fits inside of it. So that is flush as well. Then I put my handy dandy 4+1 colored pen, and I show you here that it can hook with just the pen hook, whatever you want to call that. It's tight right there because the leather is not conditioned yet, as far as it hasn't gotten used much, so it's not soft and pliable. But in due time, it will get softer and easier to put your pen inside. So that's the thickest pen that you could put in there, which is pretty thick. Sometimes I've put in a pencil as well as a pen, and it fits in there. One just has to kind of hang. Oh, here's another video clip. Let's see, what am I doing here? I think this is where I change covers, or I'm going through my planner. That's what it looks like. Seeing if I've done everything on each page. And I like to put an X at the top to help me at a glance see that I've already gone through everything that's on there and that I need not look at it again. However, like I said earlier, I end up looking at it again if I don't cross it out. So, yeah, maybe it's just a matter of getting used to it. I talked about that to-do list, how that one side, corresponds with that one particular day, and then the next side, the back side of it, corresponds with the following day. So sometimes my to-do list is on the right and sometimes it's on the left. Again, it's mimicking my Filofax, my favorite insert from Filofax. that has a 2-page spread. Yeah, so it looks like I'm just updating this, going through each page, looking through and seeing if there's something that I did not mark off. You see, it's a little neater when it's marked with a check mark rather than crossed out. There goes one of my page flags. It says poo trash. That is pick up the dog poo over in backyard. And then Monday is trash day here. And so I do it on Sunday so that I can make it for the trash day the following day. Here I'm taking out some of the inserts. You know, I've really come to enjoy the rings system because of this. Exactly what you're seeing here is that I'm able to take out what I no longer need or need to use, and I just archive it. And I try to put it all in one place so that if for some reason there's some information I need to get, and I'm away, I can ask somebody to come to my house and retrieve the archived box. Hopefully that never has to happen. Since this video, I've actually made some changes, which I'll probably talk about on the next video. There's a few things I have done. This is the proper way of opening rings, by the way. Not by pulling on the rings, but by pushing down on those 2 endpoints. That's supposed to be the proper way of taking the rings off. But I'm not really sure. There's a gapping that can occur, and people generally don't like that. I've not really experienced it, so I don't know what it's like, but from what I understand, when you flip the page, it's harder to flip it. It just kind of gets caught, which makes sense. And here I bend it. You notice how I bent that to open it? I do that so that I don't, when I open it, the pages don't fall out because it's so full. So if I bend it back, the cover, you know, the front and back cover, then I'm able to open it up without the papers flying out. So the rest of this is basically me just going through and updating my planner, something that you've already seen me do earlier. There aren't any new inserts or different inserts that I'm introducing the rest of the clip. And so I'm going to go ahead and say my goodbyes right now. Before I do that real quick, that is from Daiso. That earthy colored flags are from Daiso. So yeah, I need to go back and get more of that because that's kind of my color scheme. I like those colors. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. But before I do, one last thing. Do let me know if you like this kind of content, this kind of video. Hopefully it's something that you have gleaned 1 or 2 tips from. And yeah, so if you have any comments or questions or anything like that, please feel free to leave a message. In fact, do leave a message anyway and say, hey, I would love to know what kind of ring planners that you're using right now, what size, and if you're not using one right now, maybe let's discuss why you don't go into trying the ring planner. For me, I didn't want to try it for the longest time, and then when I finally did, because I was gifted with one, I just fell in love. And it just makes, for me anyway, personally, it has made my life so much simpler and easier to navigate through my planners. And so, yeah, it's worked out well for me. Anyway, that's it. Do let me know if there's any other content that you would like to see. And until next time, I hope that you have a wonderful start of this month of April, and we'll talk soon. Bye bye.